Morning and welcome to Gardening 365 64, and it's a compost week special. And what better place to start a compost week special than showing you the compost that we've amassed over just 1 week. That now will all go into various compost bins and will rot down and make absolutely fantastic fertiliser for the garden, free of charge of course. My tomatoes are ripening really well, but obviously we're going to get less sun now and the hours in the day are shorter. So what I'm doing is just trimming them down, all of the leaves down to where the tomatoes are ripening. You need to leave some green on the top for obviously for photosynthesis. Did that when I was at school to happen. Take as many of the lower leaves as you can up to the tomatoes that are ripening, and that will all help stop mildew as well. And while I'm doing this, it's a good opportunity now. Here's the leaf, here's the stem, here's the side shoot, quite a big one, just to nip any of those out. And all the energy will then go into getting the tomatoes to ripen. And to stop the tomato getting too big, all you need to do, and I'm going to go there, is just nip out the top shoot, and that won't grow any higher anymore. And that's how much growth I've taken off just 2 tomatoes. I've done them now, and it actually looks like there's more tomatoes. And what it is now, the leaves are a lot hiding them. They get a better airflow, and also the sun can get on them to ripen them. So there's quite a few there to pick. So hopefully Claire will be down shortly to pick them for me. I tried to show this last week, how well the compost's working, and it was an epic fail. But if you look in here now, you'll see compost worms. So it's definitely working, and little bugs and stuff everywhere. So that's working well. So I'm going to put the tomato stalks in there now, all in. I've got another lot to do though, and when I've finished, I'm just going to cover them all up.
I didn't mean to.
Life continues.
It's so cute.
These are the poppies we put out last week to dry. Most of them now are dry enough to get most of the seeds out. It's a great way of attracting lots of wildlife flowers into your garden for almost no cost whatsoever. Okay, so I thoroughly recommend this. When I finish these, I'll go and see if there's any more poppy heads anywhere that I can dry. These are the lupins from last week. Just take the seeds out. Plant these next year. Only if we get 10% germinate. It's an awful lot of lupins for nothing. It really is quite a nice day after yesterday's complete washout of rain most of the day. Today it's beautiful, and it's just great to be outside. It really just does put the mind in a great place. Couldn't think of anything nicer to do at the minute. Just relaxing in the sun, doing what I enjoy. Now sometimes I just sit here and I listen for the birds or any other wildlife that's around. I just wonder what bird that is. It doesn't really matter what bird it is, it's just beautiful to hear. And it's just great being that close to wildlife. And just by our pond, this is Verbena. And this, in my opinion, is the very best thing to attract bees and butterflies into your garden. And every now and then, all you can hear they are. It's absolutely fantastic just sitting here listening to them. I come over and sat by the pond. Seems even more going over here. It really is quite peaceful. And all I'm doing is still doing me old loopings. It really is quite nice. Nice and warm. With a gentle breeze every now and then. Absolute heaven. And these are our wild ducklings. Almost fully grown now. They're just chilling with our own domesticated ducks. Mum's pretty much left them. She does come back every now and then. But leaving them to do their own thing now. Finished with the greens in the compost now, and I finished off with a layer of browns, which is wood chip, and now I'm going to put on a piece of carpet to keep the heat in. And it's going to be a warm week this week, so I'm hoping that starts really well this week. And that's it, done. Now these are beetroot. Now people often get these confused and call them pickled beetroot, but they haven't been pickled yet, so they are beetroot. Now what I'm going to do, I am going to make pickled beetroot, but I'm going to take out pretty much every other beetroot, and that way the ones that are left have got a chance to grow up big and strong. Okay, here's how I do it. So first of all, I'm not looking for big ones. In fact, I don't want big ones because the little ones are really sweet and nice. So I'm happy with that one. Not big. In fact, it's fairly small and they'll be really tender. I'll take the next one after that. Missing one. Taking one. And maybe a little bit bigger. Okay, I'll just keep going across. Taking every other. They're all similar size. And they'll grow, pickle really well. Cue the music. That one's a bit poor. Where's me trowel? Cut. I found it. Now I'm just going to prepare them to take them in the house. All I'm going to do is just remove the leaves. You can use the leaves for salad purposes. I'm personally not bothering at the minute. And be careful, it can make your hands very red. So if I've got enough to make one jar, I'll be more than happy. Looks about enough for a jar. Now earlier in the week, I made some pickled onions. And this is how I did it. And for pickled onions, you're going to need small shallots. You can use bigger shallots, but I always find the smaller ones are the best. So I'm going to take these in the house and start preparing them. Peeled all the onions now, and I'm just going to sprinkle them with some salt. And this is to bring the moisture out of them so you get good crunchy onions. And then I'm going to cover them up and leave them for 24 hours. And then I'm going to put them in jars with vinegar. It's 24 hours of them soaking in the brine water. What you need to do is just to pour off the liquid that's come from the salt. You might not get a lot. Pour it off, and that hopefully will stop the pickled onions becoming soggy later in their life. After the liquid, get as many as you can, any size, not small, not large. Fill up the jar. Okay, and you got them somewhere near. Might just have to juggle it around a little bit with a couple of smaller ones. Oh, then when you've got the jar full, just fill it up full of vinegar. I'm using white vinegar. You can use dark vinegar, whatever you want to use. And just cover all of the onions. And to finish, just put the lid on, nice and tight, and done. Finish the beetroot now, and I'm now going to wash them off. Now, as you know, it's compost week, and what I'm going to do is try one of my compost ideas, and already I'm impressed because I'm lifting up some potatoes, and that's not a bad return, and I haven't even dug yet. So I'm going to have a look what we got in here. I'm going to try this way first. And those are not bad at all. Wow, I expected little teeny ones. And what have we got? We got pretty damn big ones. And they're ever so easy to pull out because they're in compost. So there's another great use of compost. Growing potatoes. Be it little ones, which are not that little. Sometimes things work out, and sometimes they work out a little bit better than expected. And in this case, a little bit better than expected. But they have had the best of the best of the best. Lovely clean potatoes, they're fantastic. And then when these are all dug, the compost bin just goes back to being a compost bin. Happy with that? And those are the new potatoes. How proud am I? Hee. Now if you look over here, I got some bright chilies, so I'm going to harvest them now. Might not be able to film this because it's quite an awkward space to get into, so I'll show you the harvest when I'm done. And with every success is a bit of a disaster. I hit a little branch with some green ones on, so I picked them by mistake, but not a bad harvest. That's the second time I've picked chilies, and the crop is getting bigger every single time, so really pleased with them. Blueberries and courgettes. And another bit of a disappointment, the toad lily hasn't come out yet this week either, but there's a few others as well that are going to come out, so I'm looking forward to the toad lilies. To make pickled beetroot, boil a kettle. Make sure your beetroot is completely cleaned, and then you're going to apply the hot boiling water onto the beetroot. Note, you do not cut the beetroot in any way before you boil them, or else they'll bleed. Boil the beetroot until a knife will very easily go into the beetroot. They're then ready. You can pour the liquid off then, that's no good, and just let them cool down before you're going to cut them and pickle them. When they're nearly cool, remove the skin and then slice them up and put them into jars. And when you're done, seal the jar and then just store. Okay, it should last for about 12 months at least, I would say. And that's it, pickling finished for this weekend. I will be doing some more next weekend because I've got some cabbage that I want to pickle as well, but finished for this weekend. Well, that's it for this week. So that's Gardening 365 64. Join us next time for Gardening 365 65. Please subscribe to our channel. Hopefully you're enjoying the videos and learning stuff, enjoying some of my mistakes, and keep subscribing, as I say, and inviting your friends to Facebook. And see you next time for Gardening 365 65. Bye.